What's up, Cyberhawks? So in today's video, we're going to be going over ways to improve your passwords. I got a list right here on good old docs, good old Word docs, and we will be going over this, and I'll kind of just be sharing like my thoughts on these practices for your passwords and exactly why you should actually be applying this to your actual passwords so that you don't get hacked like me in the past. Oh, you guys haven't been getting hacked too much. You guys have been watching some of my videos. I have in the past, but that was in the past. We're in the present now. We're not, you know, 5 years ago. We're right here, right now, grinding. And yeah, let me go ahead and bring up my list. And you guys can definitely let me know in the comments if you agree with the list or not. So the first one is using a passphrase. Now, the reason why a passphrase like puppies love to play in the park is easy to remember and hard for bad guys to guess because it's long and has a mix of letters, numbers, and symbols. This makes it safer for your online accounts. All right, and let me just make that bigger right there so you guys can see that. And as you guys can see, a passphrase puppy loves to play in the park. You got the uppercase, you got the lowercase, you got the two. Instead of writing out TWO, you got the, just two as a number. You got the exclamation point at the end. So you're getting past all of the like factors that you usually have to have for a password dang near nowadays. And it's something that you can easily remember for the most part. Instead of you remembering something more complex like A537 alpha, explanation point, $ plus equals 23. That can be very complicated, whereas you can use something like this and it kind of just makes things a whole lot easier to remember in your head. And again, you can play around with different things too. Like, again, instead of writing just the two, like puppies love two, you're actually just writing the number 2, playing the park. And you can probably like change up more words like this, like puppy loves. You can like change that O, for example, to like a 0, or you can change the E to a 3. So it's like so many different ways you can play around with this, and you can kind of just remember that in your head. Maybe you have something that you say a lot. You can find a funky way to actually edit that. Like maybe you like saying, I like pizza or something like that. And I'll actually show you that right now. So okay, let's say like your catchphrase for yourself is like, I like pizza, for example. It's your catchphrase. I like pizza. Like, this is an easy one that you can make to a catchphrase for your passwords. So example, if I can spell, that would be great. I guess I wasn't planning on actually spelling and doing all this, but I'll do it for you guys so you guys can see. So like for this, I like pizza. So instead of you kind of just writing I like pizza for your password, you could do something like we can do a big case L and then maybe all your I's or ones, or maybe just the first one, the first I is just one, and K, you can do P. You can do that. Maybe with it like an at 3 at the end, exclamation point, or maybe you can change your I's to exclamation points. So it can be looking something like this. I like pizza. And then again, maybe you can add in a number like I like pizza, like how many slices of pizza you like. Maybe like I like pizza 2S for 2 slices or something like that. So, or maybe you like pepperoni pizza. So you can be like, I like pepperoni pizza. So like you can like play around with it. And again, you can make it as complex as you would like. But it's easier to remember that. It's way easier to remember this versus something like that. Like for example. So yeah, having catchphrases is definitely key, and that's something I use a lot, especially for like password managers, for example. It's easier just to have like a long like passphrase that can kind of be complicated to write, but once you've written down like a few times, it becomes so easy, and then you're just remembering that catchphrase, so it just becomes so easy. Okay, the next one is avoid common words and phrases. Let's make this big real quick and let's read this. Why? So, hackers try common words and personal info like birthdays first. If your password is something simple like password 123 or your birthday, they can easily guess it and get into your accounts. And yeah, this is something I definitely agree with. A lot of those like password like hack things, like when they have like a whole list of like common passwords and different things of that nature, you'll see like a lot of different things like that on there. Also, too, online when they're doing like phishing attempts on people, like when they make posts like, "Hey, what?" Like they'll have like a list of like each of the months, and they'll have like different like icons or different things of that nature for each month. Maybe one time, maybe one post, they'll have it like which artist, like which rapper are you, for example. And underneath each month, they'll have a different rapper. And then, from there, if you say like, okay, let's say you say you're Drake and Drake is for December. So, okay, so now they know the month that you're born. And then they'll have maybe something like the days. And if you're this day, you're this person, or you wearing this color hat. So maybe on the second is like red, like a red hat. And December is Drake. So you'd be like, okay, I got Drake with a red hat. And, you'll write that down in the comments, not thinking anything of it. Everybody writing down their information. But on the other side, like they're collecting this. And I'm not saying 100%, like on every single time you see this. But a lot of times people are kind of just collecting this information. So now they kind of just know your birthday now. And, kind of just knowing a little bit more information about you so that they could eventually, take your account, hypothetically speaking. So yeah, avoiding birthdays, easy one, like your password 123, nothing too specific there, or 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Yeah, you definitely want to avoid those because yeah, those would probably be one of the first things that they will try, especially like they're brute forcing or different things of that nature on your account. So kind of just be wary of that. Also, too, if you're using a password like this, you're probably using that on everything. So if they try this password out and it works, like, I mean, for the most part, like they'll use your password on multiple different accounts. That's why it's smart to actually have a password manager so you don't have to worry about that, or at least not as much, because you can have complicated passwords everywhere without having to remember. But with password 123, they will for sure know that you're not using anything complicated on the other websites. So rest assured that your other accounts will probably start getting hacked very quickly. So, kind of just a heads up right there. So let's go ahead and go to our next one. Mixed characters, numbers, and symbols. And we kind of touched on this on the earlier one, but why using a mix of uppercase letters like A or B, lowercase letters like A or B, like smaller A, smaller B, numbers like 1 2 3, and symbols like the exclamation point or the @ makes your password stronger. Is like adding more locks to your digital door to keep out bad guys. And yeah, this is a perfect explanation right there that I think I don't really actually have to explain too much on there. Again, having uppercase, lowercase, and the different numbers and symbols, and you can replace the actual letters with these with these numbers and symbols. Again, it will make it harder for somebody to hack your account, because let's say they know your passphrase, for example. If they know your passphrase, but you're writing your passphrase with, again, some of the numbers and letters and adding different things of that nature, it will become just that much harder to actually get into your account. Next up, use acronyms or initials. Let's make that big again. Why? Creating a password from letters that stand for words or names you like, such as MNG at TW21 for Mary and George at the water park in 2021, makes it easier to remember and harder for others to guess. And yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, this is a big one, using acronyms and initials. You can use this on your patch, your pass phrases, for example, even up top, like the puppy loves to play. Maybe puppy loves to play in the park. Maybe it can be like P, puppy loves to play in the park, and then the park name or something, and like initials of that. maybe it's like Beltline Parkway Park. So Beltline B Parkway BPP. You can add a BPP somewhere in there, for example. Again, you don't actually have to spell out every single thing. You can kind of, again, use your acronyms and or initials on this. Again, it's just to make things even more complicated for the person who is trying to attack you. So theoretically speaking, I guess you could maybe use something that is I is a identification of yourself in a way, but you're using it like in acronyms and initials and kind of just having it kind of all funky so that you're able to see and understand it and you can remember it, after maybe one or two times, but it'll be harder again for somebody who's trying to hack you to remember. Next up, we got substitute letters with symbols or numbers. Why? Changing letters like O to 0 or E to 3, kind of again what I was kind of going over earlier, and adding symbols like the $sign instead of S makes your password more complex. This helps protect your accounts because it's harder for hackers to figure out. That is definitely true. It will be harder for the hacker to find your password out instead of password 1, 2, 3. Like instead of them typing in this, because like they could use like machines like brute forcing like to get into your accounts. It would just be that harder to get into it. So you got password 1, 2, 3. But again, even just something that simple, adding it, making it look like this is more complicated than this. And again, if you're kind of using the other practices that we've kind of just briefly went over, you can also maybe change this to like password. Okay, that one actually may be kind of more easy for people to find, because I feel like you're changing all the different numbers or all the different letters, but maybe something like this. And then instead of doing a 1, 2, 3, you can do like, if you want to have like 3 numbers, you can maybe add 1 right there, 2 right there, and 3 right there. Like for example, so you still technically have password 1, 2, 3, but in your head you had to remember it like two pass 3 word 1. Just like different ways in your head that you kind of remember it. But like even password 1, 2, 3, you can make that look super complicated. Now the next one is length is key. Let me drink. Take a sip of this real quick. All right, so length is key. So why? Longer passwords such as hiking for mountains is fun or harder for hackers to crack. Is like having a longer secret code that's tougher to guess, so your accounts stay safer. And again, on this, let me make that a little bit smaller. Yeah, just having a longer password will make it more harder. Again, like if they're using like a brute force where they're kind of just trying out every single thing in the freaking dictionary to get into your account. If you have like 4 letters, it's easier for that. If it's going to the dictionary of going A, B, C, D, E, and then AA, and then AB, AC, AD, and then AAA, AB, AC. It's way easier to get to pass, just 4 letters versus pass me the ball, son, 4, 5. Just all the extra words right here, for example. So yeah, just having more words. Having like more length will definitely make it more complicated for somebody to actually hack into you. And I'm actually going to show you a website. I believe it's still up. Let's see. Check password. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I think this will work. So I'm going to switch the screen over to the next slide for you guys. Let's see. I'm still kind of getting used to using StreamYard. All right. So like for pass, like 0 seconds, very quick, but like pass me the ball. Look at that. 5 minutes. Now, even though That's 5 minutes compared to like 0 seconds. It's still longer because it's just a longer password. And pass me the ball. Let me show you guys the password. Pass me the ball. So as you guys can see, they'll take them about 5 minutes to get into that versus pass, or even worse, like that pass where everything's lowercase. So even something like that that's even easier to find using kind of just more common words, it will still take longer. Now let's go to I like pizza. Okay, I like pizza. Common term, bam, 30 seconds. Now, if you again play around with the words, adding in numbers and symbols, like one for I, we're gonna change out all our I's with ones. So I like, just like that. Now that became 2 minutes. Or actually, you know what? Let's change the Z's to make it even more fun. To the Z's are going to be the dollar signs. So now 33 minutes. So again, it's kind of more harder. And then you can add in maybe another number, like your favorite number right there at the end. And then bam, that common phrase of I like pizza, even though you've worded it with the symbols and numbers, it is longer. Again, adding in, another variable, like bam, 13 hours right there. Or maybe your own initials, for example. Just adding that right there at the end, change that from 33 minutes to 12 days. And then let me do one more. I see Carfax down here, so let's do Carfax. Okay, wow. So Carfax, I guess that isn't like a common term for people to use for a password. But yeah, 94 seconds. Now, let's say we did Carfax with that 6 minutes. And then let's say we added in like some of our own terms or our own initials for things. So like, let's say Carfax are dealing with cars. Okay. So now we can be like, okay, Carfax, I got a blue Toyota Hyundai. So blue Toyota Hyundai. So now you got Carfax, and then we got the blue for B, or yeah, B for blue, T for Toyota, H for Hyundai. Or you can even write that down like that. So now you made it even more complicated. So you got the Carfax with the A's as the @ signs. You got the BT for blue Toyota. So in your head, you know this, and then the model of the car you have. And then you can make it even more complicated. You can be like, okay, Carfax, blue Toyota, Hyundai. How many of these did you get? Maybe you got one, 3,000 years, or maybe you want to put that at the, right there. Or maybe you want to put that you got one Carfax BTH Honda. So in your head, you can be like, okay, so at Carfax, I got one car. So I got one car Carfax, and it was a blue Toyota Hyundai. And kind of just made a more complicated password that can, be relatively easy for you to remember. So again, you can kind of just play around with this. There's a lot of different things you can do on that. So let me go ahead and go back here. And I think this is almost the last one. Yeah, almost the last one. Avoid using the same password for multiple accounts. Kind of briefly discuss this. And let me just make this bigger for you guys. And why? If you use the same password for different websites or apps and one gets hacked, all your accounts could be at risk. Using different passwords for each account keeps your other accounts safe, even if one is compromised. And that is so true. Unfortunately, it's going to be hard for you to remember very complex passwords for every single site. That's why I do recommend having a password manager, something that allows you to have very complicated passwords on every single site, every single login. And then all you have to remember is just one, hopefully complex password that you'll put in. And then after that, you'll be able to use that to then fill in the other passwords. So, that's something that you can definitely do there. Get a good password manager. There's several of those out there. And oh yeah, look at this. That's the last one too. Use password managers. Let me zoom that in. And why? Password managers help create and store strong password for you. They make it easy to use different passwords for each account without forgetting them. This keeps your account secure and makes managing passwords simpler. that is so true. It can definitely make passwords more simpler, easier to remember. And again, if you like forget your password, you can always just go online or go through your, your mobile phone and just check and be able to find the password that way. So yeah, you have it there. You don't have to worry as much about forgetting uh, these super complex passwords, or maybe even more basic passwords. You probably, if you're like me, you probably got tons of different websites, and if you're not like me, you probably still do now. This is like 2024. You probably got a Netflix account, probably got a Hulu account, probably got Amazon Prime, you probably got your school, you probably got a Google account here, you probably got a YouTube account, you probably got your Twitter, Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, having a good password manager can definitely help out a lot. I'm also going to go ahead and tell you guys like another trick you can use too. So like for your password managers, if you want to kind of make it even more like, I guess, secure, or yeah, I guess maybe more so for password managers to make it even more secure, you can do like blind passwords or like double blind passwords. But I'm just going to show you guys like a quick example for this. So on the password manager, you can usually type in use like a suggested password. So the suggested password could be something crazy like this. Okay. And that could be the one that's saved on your account. Okay. So let me see if you guys can see this right. Okay. So the password on the password manager, your username is blank and your password is this. Now you can use this method here. I believe this is like the blind method or double blind method. I forgot the correct term at the moment. I'm pretty sure as soon as the video will go off, I'll remember it. But in your head, you can have like your own 3, 4, 5 different numbers, letters that you add into a password, or maybe like your own like saying that you add to your passwords. So in your password manager, your password is going to be saved as this. So if your account ever gets hacked, they'll see this. Okay. Now, if they put this into a website, let's say Google, let's say Netflix. Okay, let's say this is all for your Netflix account, and they put your username and you put your password in Netflix, and they're able to log in. Now, with the blind method, for example, even though you have this saved, you can then add in additional, phrase, letters, or whatnot. So maybe on all your password, for example, you also have a at BJ5 3 Kai 2 or something like that. It's just random stuff like that. Or actually, better yet, maybe you have an $and $15 or something like that. EDM, like your initials, maybe what age you were, it's just like something random that you kind of just add in, and you add this in when you're actually putting in, like after you put in the password. So you use the password manager to autofill, for example, or copy and paste your password. After you copy and paste your password, then you'll add in the extra elements. So therefore, if somebody's trying to hack you, they'll only see this password in your password manager. They'll put that in and it won't work, because in actuality, your password is not just this, it's also the extra words that you're kind of putting in. Or, okay, let's say instead of adding it in at the end, let's say you always have your initials at the beginning. So for you, it'll be easy to remember, like, okay, my password this, I'll put that in, and then I'll add in EM, for example. So again, when the person who, let's say they were able to hack into your password manager and they see your password, they're like, okay, cool, we got the Netflix account. They put it in and it doesn't work. And they're wondering why. It's because they don't have the other element that only you have, which is your EM or your E535 or whatever extra element. And you can make this even more complex. You can even be like, hey, okay, so we have our password, but on all of my passwords, I'm going to add a Y at the beginning, maybe. And then after 3 letters, the 1, 2, 3, I'll add in the at. And then at the end, I'll add in a 9. So Y39 or something like that. So in your head, all you have to remember is Y39. Y at the beginning, at the three, at a three, and then like at the end at a nine or something like that that you can kind of just think of in your head. So then it just becomes even more complex for somebody to actually hack you. And then you can even play around with this even more, maybe for like entertainment sites or something like that. You'll have like a certain phrase or words. Maybe like before you watch something like a movie, you like to say cowabunga or something like that. Something random like that. So you can add in cowabunga at the end or at the beginning or in between all of your entertainment apps. However, on your banking apps, you'll have like another whole thing that you'll add in at the beginning, in or you'll salt the password with. And then maybe for like food apps, you'll have like a different one that you can add in, like some parts at the beginning, some parts at the end, some parts in the middle. So you can really make your password complex and not actually be hard to remember. So again, it's like there's so many different ways you can play around with this. I can probably talk about this for days. I've already been talking to you guys a lot already. It's already been dang near 30 minutes of me just talking about passwords. I may do a part two if you guys like this. But anyway, guys, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts on how you kind of use your passwords. Do you use a password manager? Do you just remember, write everything on your phone, write everything on your laptop or your tablet? Or you kind of just do YOLO and just hope that you magically have it right every single time. Definitely intrigued to hear your guys' thoughts. And I will be seeing you guys in the next one.